Oh, so guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another basketball reaction. And quickly, for those people who watch my second channel, or if you haven't, links in the description. I do like NBA game reactions. I do all different sport game reactions, and I'm posting a lot on there. Like, I probably post more on there than I do on my main channel, and it's more like random videos as well as this sort of average stuff that everyone likes to see me react to. So link in the description to that. But the audio was really messed up for those videos. I'm going to shoot this down actually. Why is it so high up? The audio was really messed up, and I spent about an hour and a half trying to sort it. So I apologise for that, and I don't know if the audio is going to sound good or not. I mean, it's better than it was, because that was awful, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, so I apologise for that, because I wanted to get my videos done early today, but that put a proper spanner in the works. But we're here with another Austin Sweat reaction. It's the video is the 10 meanest players in NBA history, and I mean, I'm going to know a lot of these players, but like, I'm interested to see where he ranks players and for certain reasons why. Because it's been a long time since I've done like a video in this sort of, just this sort of style of video. Like, I've not really done one of these in quite a long time. So it could be like a little throwback style video in a sense. But nevertheless, we'll check this out and see who he involves. See who he involves in this. I'm trying to think and say like 1,000 things at the same time. But I'm intrigued how he's defining meanest. Like, I'm sort of thinking just sort of players who just love to fight, maybe like sort of the old school players, and maybe like players like Shaq, etc. But maybe you could mean like sort of mentally, that sort of the players who just like they were deadly, like they were just mean on the court and they just done their business, etc. Like, that could be the case, and we're gonna see in this video. But let's check this out and see who's in this list, man.
Largest professional sports in the world. The players that become big stars in the NBA most of the time get treated like celebrities. They get put in a role where people look up to them and expect them to be role models. But just because they're put in this position and they have good basketball skills doesn't mean they have good people skills. Because there's been a lot of great NBA players that off the court and even on the court are flat out jerks. And today we're looking at 10 of them. The 10 meanest players in NBA history, based on their on-court actions, stories that have been told about them, or any public information that's out there. Starting with number 10, Blake Griffin. There's a lot of people that could have made it into this number 10 spot, but I decided to go with Blake, and here's why. After winning the dunk contest, Blake became an instant fan favorite, but since then, he's kind of turned out to be a d***. It first started with the incident of him punching the Clippers equipment manager in the face at a restaurant in Toronto.
He punched one of his like coaches. What the fuck?
Breaking his own hand. And then there was the falling out with Chris Paul after the two used to be close. And we can't blame all of that on Blake because there's a lot that went into it, but when things start to pile up, it can make that person look bad. And now there's the situation with his ex-girlfriend, where he was accused of abandoning her and their 2 children.
Wow, I did not know that. Okay.
To be with Kendall Jenner, especially because Blake Griffin was seen with Kendall just weeks after he canceled his wedding day with his ex-girlfriend, and has even been sued by her for not paying child support, along with a lot of other things. Keep in mind though that these are only...
That's an accusation for sure. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but even as an accusation, that's what I mean. Surely not. I mean, surely when you're an NBA player, you're earning that much, you're not gonna not be paying child support. I mean, Kendall Jenner, she's a good, like, I'm not going to say, okay, I'm going to say he was in the wrong there, but like, if he didn't do it in such a weird way, like such a just awful manner, it probably wouldn't be as bad. But the fact that he's doing it like this, apparently, I mean, this is a year or so old now, so this probably has been proven to be right or wrong.
Accusations by his ex-girlfriend, and they are his own private issues. But like I said, when all these things start to add up, it starts to make him look like a bad person.
Blake Griffin, I was not expecting that.
Rajon Rondo. Ever since he debuted in Boston, Rondo's been described as a jerk with a huge ego by fans, coaches, and Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And it was something that clearly followed him through the rest of his career, like when he was on the Mavs and started yelling back and forth with Rick Carlisle in the middle of a game, which led to a 1-game suspension. And then when he caught a lot of heat for calling an NBA referee a fat while he was on the Kings. And most recently when he gave the Pelicans 5 minutes to offer him a better contract than the Lakers before he signed with them instead. And these are just a few examples of why he's been labeled as a cocky guy with an attitude problem. Number 8. Latrell Sprewell. Sprewell was a talented player, but just a bad dude personally. It all started early on when he infamously choked out and punched his head.
My audio seems low. Oh my god, I need to sort this out. See, everything's just messed up. I apologise if this has been really low.
Coach in practice for telling him to make better passes. But even personally, it all started early on when he infamously choked out and punched his head coach in practice for telling him to make better passes. But even then, that 68-game suspension wasn't enough of a lesson for him, because he'd get into another fight in practice with Jerome Kersey. Got kicked out, came back with a 2x4, and got kicked out again and threatened to come back with a gun. And then on top of all of that, he turned down a 3-year, $21 million contract because he said it wasn't enough to feed his family.
You serious?
Which led to him never getting another contract offer again.
Wow.
Number 7. Kareem AbdulJabbar. Kareem's without a doubt a top 5 player, and most people even have him as high as the top 3 player of all time. But just because he was great on the court doesn't mean he was great off the court, because during his playing days, he was one of the media's least favorite players.
Was that my audio or was that the overall audio that messed up?
He was a real introverted guy that always hated the media, the post-game interviews, reporters, and really didn't care for fans. In Magic Johnson's book, he wrote about how when he was a ball boy as a kid and asked Kareem for an autograph, he ignored him and walked away. And on top of things like that, Kareem would refuse to talk to any reporter who acted too happy or excited when they met him, or that tried to give him a hug. And would constantly do things like refusing to stop reading the newspaper when he was being interviewed. He always felt that the media was out to get him and always tried to twist athletes' words around to make money. Today, Kareem said that he regrets acting that way, but that hasn't stopped teams from refusing to offer him jobs that he's been extremely interested in. Like how he's been trying to become an NBA head coach since 1999. Number 6.
Jeez, I mean, you can't blame him because like how things were back then. You know how the media are. Certain aspects of that I actually sort of side of him, but everything seems weird here. Okay, that is on that. That's just the actual screen. But like, in terms of fans, I mean, you've got to like share love to them, right? Like they've been looking up to you, and like Magic Johnson was saying, like as a fan, if a player does that to you, you're probably gonna like they maybe won't be your idol anymore. Like you might just sort of fall out of love of them because of like certain things like that. But I can sort of side with him in certain aspects, and to rank him 7th when like Blake Griffin left his baby mum and then his child. But maybe again that was because that wasn't proven.
Dennis Rodman. On the court, Dennis Rodman made a reputation for being a great hustle guy and an all-time great rebounder and defender. But he was also known for fighting players, getting under other players' skin, headbutting a referee, and kicking a cameraman for no real reason. The headbutt was more of a tap, but it still shouldn't have happened. And it did cost Rodman $200,000. And then for tripping over a camera, he kicked a cameraman with a low blow that put the man face down on the ground for a solid 10 minutes.
Jesus.
And that cost Dennis Rodman an 11-game suspension. And then on top of all of that, he's been arrested for domestic violence twice and became friends with the guy who wanted to take out the entire United States. Number 5, Kevin Garnett. Most NBA players use trash talking to get into other players' heads to try to get an advantage, but KG's a different kind of guy, because he would just randomly say the most hurtful personal things possible to try and destroy certain grown men's existence. He called Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient, wished...
Oh my god. Okay, that is wild.
Team Duncan a happy Mother's Day on Mother's Day, knowing that his mom had already passed away, told Carmelo Anthony his wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios, and has made 2 grown men cry on the court. And even during one game, in Joakim Noah's rookie season, waiting for a player to shoot free throws, Noah told Garnett that he was his favorite player as a kid and that he had his poster on the wall. And KG responded with 2 words: F you. Number 4.
How is he ranked 5th? I mean, what the fuck?
Kobe Bryant. The main reason Kobe catches a lot of hate is because he can come off as extremely arrogant and cocky. But on top of that, there was his case back in 2003, where a lot of people still think he was guilty, but got off easy because he was an athlete. And then on top of that, Kobe was extremely competitive and has admitted that he really didn't know how to balance that and pushing his teammates to get better, which led to most of them thinking he was a real dick. Like when he told Smush Parker he wasn't even allowed to talk to him unless he played better, or when he famously drove Shaq out of LA. And he's been known to yell and cuss at his teammates in practice and not care for them at all until they prove themselves to him. Number 3, Ron Artest. Does anything really need to be said here?
Nope.
Alright, I know, but we'll make it quick. Alright, so there's the obvious case of the malice at the palace, where Artest beats up 2 fans, which instantly labeled him as a bad guy for the rest of his career.
World
but a
peace
lot of
now,
that
yeah?
wasn't really his fault, to be honest. I mean, punching someone in the face is always your fault. But the point is, he put a semi-hard foul on Ben Wallace, and in return got shoved the length of Sam Cassell's forehead across the court. And even then decided to play it cool and just chill out on the commentator's table. But then the beer cup hits him. And then he runs up and starts to beat down the wrong fan. Okay, so that whole thing's on him. But he did try to play it cool. And he did almost knock the second fan out. But that fan ran onto the court looking ready to fight Artest anyways. But who are we kidding? This is the list of the 10 meanest players, and Ron Artest has proved that he belongs here by being one of the players most ready to fight at all times, and oh yeah, almost knocking James Harden's head off of his shoulders. Number 2.
One thing I will say about this list, it sort of seems to be a mix of some players are here because of like their off-court things that they've done, so certain things that they've done, but some like players seem to be here because of like how their sort of persona was, so they're sort of just like probably a bit too brutal in terms of how they sort of were with their teammates, like how he said about Kobe and I think Kareem. So I mean, it's weird how it is kind of strange how he sort of listed this, but it's still interesting to see what all these players individually have done in their career, because there's some wild people out there, man.
Karl Malone.
Oh, we know this one. Karl Malone. Where do we start?
Where Are They Now, Karl Malone video. You might know where this one is headed.
Yeah.
So in 1980, when Karl Malone was 17, he had twins with a woman named Benita Ford. And then 3 years later, when he was 20, he did the dirty with a girl named Gloria Bell, who was 13 years old. Then in 1998, 18 years after the twins were born, a newspaper article came out revealing to the public that they were his kids. So as a result, only after the article came out, Karl Malone met the twins for the first time, who are now 18 years old. And since then, he's kept a good relationship with them and has called them part of his family. But
I didn't even know that.
His other son he had when he was 20, well, he did turn out to be an NFL player, but Karl Malone has never even publicly talked about him and has only ever met him once when he went to one of Karl Malone's signings after graduating high school.
Okay, I did not have a clue about that.
Only for Malone to tell him it was too late for them to have a relationship. Like, what? How can you say it was too late after you were the one that didn't try? Number 1, Michael Jordan.
How can you have MJ ahead of him after he's just had that? Oh, fuck's sake. I know why MJ's going to be it because of like his mentality. Like, and he had like gambling things. He had a few things, but nothing in comparison to that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we're going to see, but that's kind of crazy how he's ranked him higher.
MJ might be the NBA's greatest player of all time, but sadly, he's the NBA's greatest jerk of all time, too. And the two go hand in hand pretty well, because it's common knowledge that Jordan was the most competitive player of all time.
Yeah.
But he'd constantly take things too far, whether it was on the court or in his personal life. There's so many stories out there of why Michael Jordan is a terrible person, and there's enough to make an entire video on them alone. But since we don't have that much time, I'm gonna quickly name them off. He's ruined Muggsy Bogues, Rodney McRae, and possibly Kwame Brown's entire careers with just his trash talk. He told the rapper he'd only take a picture with them for $15,000, got beat by Chuck Daly in a friendly game of golf, so he banged on his door at 6 a.m. the next morning until he woke up to play him again so Jordan could win. He's punched multiple teammates in the face, including Steve Kerr, roasted everyone from his past in his Hall of Fame speech instead of thanking them, defriended Charles Barkley because he called him a terrible GM, and even cheated to beat an old lady in a game of cards. And shockingly, well, maybe not, These aren't even all the stories out there that prove MJ is a terrible person. Jordan can be your idol on the court, but he probably shouldn't be off the court. And there you have it.
I mean, fair play. I mean, some of the rankings were strange, but I did enjoy this video. I do find it interesting how all of these players seem to be top level players. I'd say about 8 or 9 of them were like some of the best. But I just found it a bit weird how he sort of split between the sort of on-court sort of personas and how he was with teammates versus some people who actually did some terrible things. But hey, we're just here to enjoy the video, right? Who's here after Kobe's death? Fell to legend. Yeah, man. Of course. I met MJ at a restaurant in the 90s when I was 16. He couldn't have been nicer to my parents, and I took pics and signed a few items. Our meal was free. Oh, wow. Jordan and Kobe being competitive to win a game. The list mean. That's what I'm trying to say. But I guess it is a mixture of the two in a sense. Jordan's the meanest player. Jordan, a year later, opens a tax show in his hometown. Wow. That's pretty sick, actually. A tax show. That's pretty awesome. Kobe's not a mean guy. He was just invented his Mamba mentality on the court and is extremely hard worker off the court, and with the fans he's very nice. Who else is super sad that Kobe's on the list after he died? Again, I see Kobe in terms of his persona on the court, but it's kind of the same with MJ. Like, that's why they were so great, isn't it? Like, I just think it's a bit, but I mean, I guess it's just this video. I can't really like keep repeating myself. Kobe isn't a bad person. He just had to push people so they can get man mentality, just like him and his daughter. You should just do 10 nicest. You should do 10 nicest NBA players to counter in the video next. If he's done that, I would be interested in seeing that. I mean, if that's even a video. But I mean, it's hard to judge that because I mean, as you say, like MJ, he's like doing opening all these shuttles, etc. Kobe also did his own things in terms of like helping. I'm pretty sure he was like really invested in the WNBA, wasn't he? So he was really invested trying to sort of boost that, and just other things here and there that I'm sure that I've probably never heard of that he's done. But I mean, people like Karl Malone. I mean, I don't know how he's ranked below MJ. I'm not gonna lie, because his story is mad. Like, that is mad to me. But hey, I mean, it was a good video nevertheless. And I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Any more sort of these top 10 videos, I'd be interested in seeing. Just suggest what you'd like to see in the future, because it's been quite a long time since I've done these kinds of videos. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully the audio wasn't so bad. Like, I'm struggling to sort it. And I spent a long time trying to do it. I'm just terrible with technology. But yeah, hopefully you guys went on to enjoy. Until next time, like, subscribe.